inside of the coach, the first thing we're doing is checking the door, the handrail, the windows. They're securely attached, clean, clear, not cracked, not broken. The handrails are all securely attached. I see the lights, they're on. They're clean, clear, not cracked, not broken. They are working. I can see that light working down there. I've got a federal annual inspection sticker. I'll be checking that in my coach binder to make sure it matches. I've got a hinge here. I'm making sure that the hinge inside is clean and doesn't have an excessive grease, and that the hinge cover is securely attached, not frayed or cracked. Checking my steps to make sure they're not buckled and there's nothing impeding my forward motion onto the coach. And my door seal, I don't remember if I said that, but the door seal has to be securely attached, not coming out, so that it'll close the door properly. Coming back up onto the coach, I'm making sure that the pathway, the aisle is clear, not buckled, nothing spilled on it, clean. And then I come on board, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be checking all of my bays. I'm going to open up a couple of them here, and I would ask, do you want me to check all of them? And probably they'll say no. They don't have the time for that. And then I'm going to check my coach binder. We're in coach 7157. This is the correct binder. Inside of the binder, I see that we already have a DOT examination report that goes inside of the binder. One copy here, and then one copy goes to the manager. We've got a fuel card. I've got a fuel log. This coach was fueled yesterday. I put the mileage, how much fuel went in, and my name. And so you're basically looking to make sure that you have enough fuel to perform your job duties for that day. So then you go and you check your vehicle registration. So I'm making sure that my vehicle registration is current and my insurance identification card is current. And then inside here is where did that go? There it is. The annual vehicle inspection report. This is for 7157. Has 11/10/14, and that's what it says down there on that federal inspection sticker. Same thing. You want to make sure it matches. Then going inside, I have SDS sheets. They're in the back. Have to make sure that they're in the binder. That is a requirement for DOT. So coming over here, this is a highway coach. So most coaches do not have these great big containers in here. So what's in this one is my incident kit with a camera. Want to make sure there's a camera, because if you have an accident, you need that camera. In here is a biohazard spill kit for indoor spills, and a sealed first aid kit. And they're usually small. This is for a highway coach, so most coaches don't have that. So that's what I would check there. Then all of these seats, I'd make sure that my seats are all securely attached. And I check the seats on the front ones, and then I say, do you want me to check all of the seats? And they're going to say no. Then I would check that my emergency windows open properly and close. And I check one on this side, and I check one on this side. And then I would ask them if they want me to check them all, and they're going to say no. I would check my roof hatches, make sure that they work. And I would check the front one anyhow. Ask them if they want you to check the back one. And then underneath this seat, I have my fire extinguisher, and I want to make sure that the pin is in, that it's securely attached, that the label is current. So those are important things. You want to make sure that that thing is firmly in place. It's securely attached. And then coming down, I'd be checking all of my reading lights and my monitors to make sure that they're all securely attached. And then coming down to the back of the coach, last, I check the bathroom. I make sure that the bathroom, stinks.
Yeah, it does.
So it would have blue bombs in here. It had toilet tissue, hand sanitizer, hand wipes, your handrails, checking to make sure my handrails work. I've got an emergency buzzer. You can hear that. And then I push on the door here. If you look up here, you're going to see that shows you that the light is working. So when you're doing a safety speech, that's part of the thing that you're telling your guests. Inside of here is all your supplies. Because this is a highway coach, it has a lot of other things in here. So you would have your spare toilet tissue, hand sanitizer, towels, all that kind of thing. So coming forward, I then get to the front of the coach. Set this here. Yes. Make sure that gets off. And I'm checking. I can see that my windshield wiper blades are securely attached, and that they're all in. They're not frayed. They're not broken or frayed. My passenger mirror is securely attached. My driver's seat, somewhat securely attached. My steering wheel, securely attached. There's nothing impeding underneath my pedals there. I would get myself into position where my seat is where I want it. My radio is working. 7157 radio check working. My mirrors, I would adjust my mirrors to make sure they're where I want them. And then I would put my seat belt on. My seat belt is securely attached, not frayed, and works properly. Then all of my visors, they're working. My windshields are clean, clear, not cracked, not broken. Then coming across here, I have my gear shifter over here. I'm going to close the door briefly. Sometimes they're in the middle here, but on this coach it's here. So I've got my gear shifter, I've got my dash illumination lights, I've got my, I'll turn this on, I've got my fast idle, I've got my AC and my heat, I've got my defrosters. You need to turn them on. I see that they're working. My master switch, my engine start. And then I'm looking at all of my dashes. I want to make sure that my dashes are clean, clear, not cracked, not broken, and they're working. When the coach is on, I can see if it's cold, they may be low, but then as it warms up, they'll be building them. That's what I'm looking for, to make sure that they're building to their proper spot. I've got my PA system. I would make sure that it is working. I've got a headset. We will be doing that later. And I've got my wipers. I want to make sure that they work. So I would put them on and check that out. I've got my heater over here. Of course, my AC and my heat over on this side. But on this side, I've got my entry door, my driver light, my outside lights, my hazard lights, my coach lights, my retarder, and step lights. So underneath here, I've got my air release for my bay doors. And then, of course, my radio and PA system that turns on over there. So at this point, I'm going to, let's just start the engine briefly. So at this point, I would start the engine. I would make sure that everything's starting to work. And then once I've done all of everything, then I'm about ready to, I would say, I need to check my my high beams and my turn signal lights. Would you assist me doing that? And so the tester will go out there and he'll check everything. And then you come in and you're going to do your brake test. So my brake test, the first three, I turn off my engine and make sure that my fast idle is off, and I turn the master switch back on, and then I reach over with my foot on the brake. I turn the parking brake off, and I've applied pressure. to my service brake. I'm timing it for 60 seconds to make sure that it does not drop more than 3 psi in a 60-second period. So we'll just say that 60 seconds have gone by. So then, once the 60 seconds, my applied test has passed, I'm now pumping it down, and my low air warning light and sound should come on before 60, which it did do. Now I'm going to pump it down and simulate the pop-up test. And these coaches don't do it, but I would take it down to 20 psi, and then at 20 I would reach over and pop up the test, the parking brake, and simulate that. And I would say, do you want me to take it all the way to 20? Then those 3 have passed the test. So now I'm going to start up my engine. I'm going to turn my fast idle on, and making sure that my hazards are on too, because your hazards must always be on when your engine's on in the yard. Now I'm doing the governor cut out, and this is building up air pressure, and between 120 and 130 my governor will cut out with a burp or a sneeze, and that is like a psh sound that we're listening for. So of course that takes a little bit of time. So you want to separate your cut in and your cut out. That's what they want. So I always do the cut out first. At 100 pounds PSI, you are then safe to move the coach in an emergency situation. That would be like if you got on a railroad track, or you died in the middle of the road somewhere and you needed to just pull over. That does not happen very often, but it's good to know. You've got a little warning thing here. It says do not operate coach with air pressure below 100 psi. So that's kind of like a reminder. So now we're almost at 120. We should be hearing that sound. There we go. So the governor cutout is past the test. So now I take my fast idle off. I take my parking brake off. And now I'm pumping it down to 85 pounds pressure. And I'm going to do the governor cut in. This is building, see if you build air in a quick amount of time. So now I've pop up my parking brake again, turn my fast idle back on. And now, in 45 seconds or less, between 90 and 105, I'm making sure that it's building air, and that the air has cut in. Well, it's cut in, and it is building quickly. So it's actually gotten up to where it needs to be in less than 45 seconds. So the cut in air pressure test has passed the test. The last 2 brake tests, I would back out of the slot and move into position in the yard. I would be going straight, and my parking brake, of course, would be off, and I'd be in gear. And I'd be moving forward at idle speed. I would quickly apply brake pressure, and what I'm checking for is to see if my steering wheel is going to pull to the right or the left. If it does not, then it has passed the test. Then with it in gear, I reach over, I pop up my parking brake, I apply a little gas, and my parking brake is holding, not moving the coach. So the parking brake has passed the test. So that's all the brake tests.
Okay.
That's the end.
So.